Hey everybody, it's Eric from epautos.com, your libertarian car guy, and I'm sitting in traffic with the engine not running in the 2019 Subaru Crosstrek plug-in hybrid. This is a new iteration of the Crosstrek, and interestingly enough, the chief virtue of this thing, in my opinion at any rate, is not that it uses a bit less gas, which it does, because it can run on electricity on its batteries for about, I think it's 17 miles. I got to go back and check the press kit statistics. But at any rate, the thing that makes it cool, in my opinion, and potentially worth getting, is that it fixes the one significant flaw that the regular Crosstrek has, which is that it's not particularly speedy. Regular Crosstrek needs about 10 seconds to hurl itself to 60, which isn't terrible. It's quicker than a Prius, it's quicker than a couple of other cars, but it's a little bit on the sluggish side. Well, if you get the plug-in hybrid, you'll get the immediate right now torque of a pair of electric motors in addition to the gas engine, and Subaru says it'll knock a full second off the 0 to 60 time, get you down to high 8s, low 9s, which makes it much more competitive in terms of acceleration with other compact crossovers, and really corrects the one thing that you can gripe about with regard to the Crosstrek, because otherwise I think it's the standout vehicle in the class. Chiefly for two reasons. The first being that it comes standard with all-wheel drive at no additional cost. Most of the other vehicles in this segment offer all-wheel drive, but you do have to pay extra for it, and you wind up paying more as a result. The Crosstrek, if memory serves, the base price is just under $23,000. I'll have to go back to confirm that, but that's pretty inexpensive for a vehicle with all-wheel drive standard. The other thing is that it comes standard with almost 9 inches of ground clearance, which is considerably more than most of the other crossovers in this class. Some of them only have about 6 inches of clearance, if you can believe that, and very few have close to 9. And that combination of the all-wheel drive and that ground clearance really makes the Crosstrek a formidable vehicle if you have to drive in places where the roads are not paved and where it tends to snow. I've mentioned before that I live in Southwest Virginia in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and Subarus are very popular around here for just that reason. They'll go places that just about any four-wheel drive truck will go, but they're a lot more pleasant to drive, they're not as huge, and they're considerably easier on gas. And by the way, that's something else that Subaru has taken care of. Subarus used to be criticized somewhat fairly for being pretty thirsty, considering that they are fairly small vehicles with fairly small engines. They did some re-engineering, and one of the things that they did specifically was to put a new CVT automatic transmission on the roster as an option. You can still get a manual transmission in several Subaru models, but with the new CVT, the Crosstrek is capable of getting well into the 30s on the highway as far as its mileage goes, and that again is as good or better even than competitive vehicles similarly equipped. So you can't fault the vehicle any longer on its gas mileage, and if you get the hybrid, you can't fault it anymore on its acceleration either. The only catch, of course, is that you will have to pay more to get the additional performance and the ability to operate on electricity only for those 17 or so miles. I think the base price for the plug-in hybrid is about $34,000, and again, that's actually fairly competitive with other plug-in hybrids. If you look at the cost of a plug-in Prius, some of the other models, it's in the ballpark. It's hard to justify it right now, obviously, with gas being about $2 a gallon. At least that's what it costs in my area. But depending on where you live and depending on how you drive, you might be able to make the math work out. If, for example, you live in a city or your commute is very short and you have the ability to get there and back without the gas engine coming on, or if you can plug in where you are, conceivably you could burn very little and even no gas to speak of, which over time might end up saving you money. And there's always that wild card that gas prices will go up again. If they do, then the math changes considerably. And right now, you probably can haggle yourself a pretty good deal on something like this plug-in Crosstrek, or for that matter any other plug-in or even hybrid vehicle, just because again it's hard to make the math work when gas is $2 a gallon. So probably a lot of these are sitting on dealers' lots waiting for somebody to come and take them home. You might want to take that into account when you're going shopping. I'll have more up at epautos.com. Probably finish the review of this vehicle within the next 2 days or so. So hopefully I'll be able to get something up on that soon. There's also an article about the new slew of big V8s that are coming online from Ford and from General Motors and from Ram. The sad news, of course, is that they're only going to be offered in heavy-duty trucks in the 2500 series class and bigger. But at least they're available. That's some good news. And it will be interesting to see whether the fact that they are available and V8s, not even big ones, are becoming scarce in 1500 series trucks, whether that pushes people to go ahead and move up a class and pick up a 2500 series rather than a 1500, just in the same way that all of the original downsizing of cars away from big full-size sedans with big V8s to smaller front-wheel drive cars with small engines created the big truck and SUV boom that happened in the 80s and the 90s. I think it's possible we might see people pushed into bigger trucks. Once again, the unintended consequence of the government's determination to force fuel efficiency down our throats. So, my rant about that is up on the site. Hope you'll swing by, take a look. Thanks for viewing, and we will catch up with you again soon.